Nothing is more appetizing than the smell of ghee for me personally. Ghee, according to Ayurveda, is food of gods. Probably the highest or the most superior food is ghee, because it is the essence of milk which comes from a cow, considered as very holy in Indian tradition. How we extract ghee actually makes what kind of ghee will come to your table. So how the milk is procured, how it is taken from the cow, what kind of cow gives milk, how the cow is treated will affect the qualities, not just physical and nutritional, even the spiritual qualities what are imparted to ghee. Ghee also forms a very important part of our traditions and religious ceremonies here in India. So when we extract milk from a cow, it should be made sure that the calf has enough milk to drink, and only the leftover is taken with lot of gratitude from the cow. Milk is not our entitlement. Milk is a blessing from the cow which is accepted, and then we process it and make ghee out of it. When ghee is made by homogenizing different kinds of milk which are commercially extracted, and the cows are merely used like machines or factories, and then various different kinds of milks are mixed together, the fat is extracted from the milk, and then the ghee is made. The smell, what comes to that, the perfume that ghee has, the taste palette of that particular ghee is very different from the ghee which is procured in a non-commercial way, and in which we take very little milk from the cow, we ferment that milk, make curd, then we turn that curd into buttermilk, extract butter out of it, and that butter then is clarified to make ghee. So a ghee like this is a labor of love and a labor of effort, which imparts it its peculiar fragrance. I wouldn't call it odor, it is a fragrance, because this fragrance is extremely appetizing, and this is what makes an A2 cow's ghee different than commercially produced ghee. Many people often say that this smell is too strong as compared to what commercial ghee we use, but that is because of the processing that this ghee undergoes and all the steps which are followed to get this much ghee on table. So this is priceless when we have it in our kitchens, and I feel that having something like this in your kitchen, there's no better medicine than this if you have a ghee of this quality in your kitchen. Ghee in Ayurveda is extremely revered as a superfood, or Amritatulya as Ayurveda calls it. It's called elixir. What gods have, the gods are privy to. Ghee is what we have on earth. And the qualities imparted to ghee by Ayurveda are sometimes too difficult to believe or grasp, because they are so good. For example, ghee is called to be Vapusthairya-kara. Vapusthairya-kara means it stabilizes your body and slows down aging. Rasayana is another property which is similar, which makes you preserve your youth for a very long time. But ghee has, apart from being a rasayana, it is Vapusthairya-kara. Vapusthairya-kara means it will stabilize your body, not allow your tissues to deplete over a period of time as you are aging. It is also called as Ativa Medhakara, Ati Medhya. Medha we had discussed in some of the a few episodes ago. Medha is academic intelligence. So ghee is Ativa Medhakara. It is extremely good for boosting academic intelligence. It also gives. It is also good for dhi, which is intelligence according to Ayurveda. So higher mental functions are boosted by regular intake of ghee. Many other qualities are imparted to ghee. This episode might be too short for it. For example, ghee is chakshusha. It is extremely good for eyes. It is swarada. It is extremely good for your voice. It is extremely good for digestion. Also, it is called as Vannikrita. Vannikrita means it is good for digestion or metabolism. Digestion means your transformation of food which takes place at the level of intestines. And then metabolism is how our body utilizes the nutrients to make our tissues or to run our body's day-to-day functions. So even at the level of tissue nutrition and tissue metabolism, ghee is extremely good. Another quality of ghee which is mentioned in Ayurveda, which I personally really like, is Yoga Vahi. Yoga Vahi means it has a quality of being inertly accepting all the qualities of medicines which are processed in it without changing them. So it allows the medicines to retain their qualities rather than changing them because it is combined with ghee. So Ayurveda has multiple ghee preparations, especially those which are used for cleansing processes or panchakarma as we call it. The detoxification procedures of Ayurveda require ghee. Unless we give ghee, body will not willingly give up toxins. So ghee is also called as Shuddhikrita, means it cleanses the body. Another thing is, many medicines which are meant for boosting brain functions or treating psychiatric disorders or improving memory, improving concentration, the treatment of seizures in Ayurveda involves preparations which are made in ghee. There is a very interesting theory to it as to why ghee preparations are so prevalent in Ayurveda. The reason for that is most of our cell membranes and even another barrier which exists between our body and our brain called as the blood-brain barrier, in which the capillary linings do not allow everything to percolate to the brain because it is considered as a very important organ. So that blood-brain barrier only allows food or medicines which are suspended in a fat matter. So here, because ghee is so good for memory and intelligence and brain functions in general, most medicines which are good for brain are suspended in ghee so that they are readily absorbed within the circulation of brain and thereby show the results where they should show. Another thing is, I was talking about cell membranes in the body. Many of the cell membranes in the body are also lipophilic in nature. They contain a lot of lipids in their cell membranes. Therefore, if we want our cells to give up on toxins or if we want to extract toxins from our body, we need to give medicines which are again suspended in ghee. So ghee, it's not just an ingredient which we use in food. It is not just a fat. That is, I feel that is very insulting to ghee, according to me, because ghee is like having a personality in your kitchen. It deserves respect and it deserves a place in your diet. Many people argue that because ghee exists as a solidified state at room temperature, it means that it has a lot of saturated fats. So it is bad for your heart and bad for cholesterol. Thankfully, that outlook has changed over the past few years and people have much more awareness about why ghee is good for us. So ghee, although it has saturated fat, the way it is processed in our body, research studies show that people who dwell in rural India, the men especially in rural parts of India, have lesser incidence of cardiovascular diseases as compared to those people who use different kinds of fats in their cooking. So this research study although shows that ghee doesn't directly increase fats when it is had in permissible limits and when it is used in a justified manner in our food. Although we need to remember that people in rural India have much more physical activity and they are much more physically active as compared to urban people. So moderation has to be practiced when we use ghee in our food or as a medicine. Another research study which is very important is that ghee is extremely good for wound healing. Non-healing ulcers which are present in people who have varicose veins, the venous ulcers, then even non-healing wounds for people who are diabetic in nature, or even accidental wounds sometimes are very difficult to heal because of the necrosis of local tissue. So in such cases also, ghee is extremely good for healing wounds. Another thing which is worth mentioning is that ghee is very rich in A, D, E and K vitamins, which are very nutritious to us, and it is also rich in omega-3 and 9 fatty acids, which are also good for maintaining not just our fat metabolism but also our carbohydrate metabolism. Ghee is extremely good for people who are Weight Watchers, people who are diabetic, to stabilize their blood sugar levels. People probably who have coronary artery disease, pre-existing coronary artery disease, may need to go a little easy on ghee. Let it not be a major fat in your diet, but then it will not cause an exacerbation of the existing condition if it is used in moderate amount. Another very interesting usage of ghee is during pregnancy. Ayurveda has this entire concept called Garbhini Paricharya, in which specific rules and regulations and dietetics are mentioned for women who are pregnant. and ghee forms a very important part of it. On an average, a pregnant woman needs 200 to 300 calories extra than a normal woman to keep up with her bodily requirements to support the pregnancy. Ghee is an ideal fat to provide that, one of the foods which can provide that extra calories. Of course, not all 300 calories should come from ghee, but including ghee in diet according to Ayurveda is extremely good for pregnant women. Also, it is believed that using ghee during pregnancy boosts the unborn child, the intelligence of the fetus and the brain development is really good if ghee is included in a pregnant woman's diet. Another part why this might be the reason is many women in India, both in rural and urban parts, I have mentioned this before also, are prone to developing iron deficiency anemia. So, including ghee in their diet helps our body to absorb iron from our food. So, ghee is a very important part of it. For example, we eat dates because dates are very rich, khajura. Dates are very rich in iron, and we eat dates regularly to boost iron levels and because they are extremely good for blood pressure, etc. Right? Another very nutrition-rich food. Smearing a little bit of ghee on the dates makes that iron very readily bioavailable to the body. So that is how ghee transforms the way we absorb iron from our food. So a little bit of ghee goes a long way, and many nutrients require a fat medium for their absorption to be better in our body. One another use of ghee is for people who feel constipated. We were talking about ghee usage in pregnancy also, and pregnant women also frequently experience a lot of constipation, because of which they can develop piles later and painful fissures, etc. And even for people who are habitually constipated, ghee can be used very regularly to relieve that constipation without using laxatives, which can be very habit forming and can damage the lining of your intestines over a long period of time if you use it over a long period of time. A damaged intestinal lining can thereby compromise how much nutrients will be absorbed into your body. So a little bit of ghee, 1 teaspoon ghee in a glass of warm milk, if you have it at bedtime, is an excellent remedy for relieving constipation, not just for pregnant women or people who are habitually constipated. It is excellent for children. So children, because milk is a very essential part of their diet, giving ghee is also a very simple remedy, and it is also very palatable to give it to children. And most of the issues pertaining to children and pregnant women, there has to be a try to resolve it with food rather than trying to resolve it by introducing different medicines. After telling everything about ghee, now we realize that ghee is a very important part of our diet, in fact a very important part of our lives. But I want to make this point before I end this particular talk. Anything which is good, it is a human tendency that if somebody tells that this particular food is good for you, we have a natural tendency to overdo it. And I have seen this in people, and I have seen this in patients in my clinic. That tendency has pushed many foods towards extreme demonization, and then telling that, oh, it does exactly opposite to what we take it for actually. And ghee probably is something which is very prone to that. So just because I told that ghee is good, or because we know that ghee is good, that doesn't mean that we go overboard using ghee in our diets. If you are making ghee an essential part of your diet, make sure that ghee is, when you include ghee, it is in moderate amounts, and second, it has to be coupled with that much of physical activity. Whether it is yoga or it is exercise, it's your choice, but there has to be a physical activity with it. I had mentioned one point which I would like to again highlight and then probably come to the end of this. Ghee is called to be Yoga Vahi, and I said that in terms of medicines. There is another very important property which is another aspect of being Yoga Vahi. Many of you must have seen that ghee is offered in sacrificial fires or ceremonial fires which we light during Hindu religious ceremonies. Ghee is supposed to be the medium through which whatever blessed offerings we give in the fire are taken to the respective gods. Another god which has this particular quality is Lord Agni, which carries this to the gods later. So ghee works like his assistant in this ceremonial fire, in which he helps the Lord Agni to carry the offerings to the respective gods. So there is a very deep spiritual feeling which is attached to ghee apart from the nutritional qualities.